StarCast returns to the Chicago area this Labor Day weekend. Tickets for StarCast 6 are now on sale at starcast.com and include AEW All-Out ticket bundle options. Join us at the Hyatt Regency Schaumburg starting Friday night, September 1st, for unique fan experiences with wrestling legends from yesterday and superstars from today. Follow StarCast events on Twitter for the latest updates about all things StarCast. StarCast 6 is brought to you in part by ProWrestlingCrate.com. Monthly mystery crates for die-hard wrestling fans. Plans start at $9.95 and are the perfect gift for any wrestling fan. Visit ProWrestlingCrate.com today.
The recognized
It's that time, so come on down. We're walking in the Dogg Pound Road, D-O-double-G, Dogg and Casio. Talking shop, reminiscing on a flashback. Hall of Fame name with a legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
I see that these are the eyes of disarray. Sorry, we weren't even on the air yet.
Would you even care?
And I feel it. That's one of the songs I sang to get hired in the WWF at the time.
Come on, man.
Max Payne, Man Mountain Rock, played it on the acoustic guitar, and I just sang it. Just sitting there in front of them. It's actually very, very punk rock, bro.
Did you hit him?
What are we doing here? What is
Did you ask
this?
him that question? So where's it raining in your bedroom?
Sorry.
Welcome back to the show. It's Road Dogg and Casio, and you're listening to
Oh, you didn't know?
Dog. How are you, sir?
I have been better, but just because I don't know what the future holds, and every day the world reminds me of that. And so this is something that I wanted to do, and you said, you know, let's do it, but let's not jump right on it, because we wanted to be sensitive about it. And I knew both of them, and so we'll talk about both of them today. Both Terry, I'm talking about Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt, who are not only members of the WWE family, but because, you know, one's a Hall of Famer already and one's a shoe-in to be one, and they both passed this week. So we just want to honor those guys and tell some stories about those guys and talk about how I, as if anybody gives a crap, but how I processed and thought, you know what I mean, and kind of am handling it, if I can say I am, you know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see where it takes us, man. But whose birthday is it? I'm sorry.
It's nobody's birthday.
In my mind, you either laugh or cry, and or you can just bash your head into the wall. So.
Well, we don't know what this is about to be, but we did want to. I mean, that's what you have a podcast for, is to get those thoughts out, and we also want to get these memories out there.
Yeah.
Because you spent a lot of time with both of these guys. So we're going to jump right into a Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt tribute episode. Dog, of course, you mentioned Terry, all-time legend, Hall of Famer in whatever organization you even want to talk about.
Yeah.
He's in there. He should be in their Hall of Fame. A man of many people's Mount Rushmores of professional wrestling. We've talked about Mr. Funk a lot over the past 72 episodes of this podcast. What do you first remember meeting or seeing Terry Funk?
So I'm gonna go back, and please put a pin in that question. When did I first see or remember Terry Funk? And I just want to state something about my my philosophy, my mindset. And look, when I speak things out loud, it speaks it into existence, and it helps me to do the things that I'm talking about. And so I have been looking. I've shed some tears, and I might again or whatever. But I. So yesterday was the 3rd anniversary of my father passing. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to read it on social media. I don't want to see that. That's not the day that I want to remember my father on. You know what I mean? Like it's life in general is a game of perspective. And so how do I choose to look at or / accept what is going on in the world? And so in my brain, I have to break it to my heart that the memories are eternal. The memories I have of these gentlemen can never be taken away from me, and they're all very positive ones. The ones I don't want to remember are what day they passed away on. You know what I mean? The day not only I, but the rest of the world, and especially their loved ones, the people closest to them, lost them. Like I don't want to talk about that. I want to celebrate it, and I want that to be the perspective that we talk about these two guys in, because they're not to be laid down and mourned. They're to be celebrated. And if you ask either one of them, and I can imagine asking each of them, well, what do you want us to do? You know what I mean? I can imagine both of them maybe open hand slapping me for saying that. You know what I mean? And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding at all, because Bray was and we'll get into him too, but just two very physical men, but loving men. Like it's so cool to see some guys that you fear, like from a animalistic standpoint, a primal standpoint. I'm scared of that dude because I think that dude can have his way with me. You know what I mean? And but to also be enamored or inspired by the love that they exude, and that it exuded in every relationship they had, and both of them. So anyway, I kind of went around the corner to just say, look, I'll cry again about losses in my life, but we're all going to be dealt them, and whether we like it or not, they're coming. So how I had to ride up yesterday to Huntsville, 4.5 hour drive by myself in the car, listening to my playlist, very eclectic playlist, but very poignant songs on that playlist that will bring a tear to a glass eye. And I mean, so I cried a lot in 4.5 hours. And to be quite honest, I drove 4.5 hours back today, and I didn't have dry eyes for too many miles on that trip either. But they, man, it was thankful. And I know this is me, and I ain't preaching my religion or anything, but I was thankful to God for the opportunity that I got to spend time with these two guys who are special, who were very special in the industry in which we all love so much. Very special human beings, very special professional wrestlers / sports entertainers, whatever you want to call it. They were special people in this industry. And man, I got to spend a little time with them. And I'm thankful to God for that. Let's get back to your story or your question about where did I first meet Terry. And the first time I met Terry was in 1993 in WCW. And you actually have a question, because I did peruse a couple of questions before I got teary-eyed and stopped reading. But I did see a question about that, so we'll get to that when you come to that question. But that's when I first met Terry. Look, I had seen Terry. I had been in buildings where Terry was, but like I said earlier, my dad didn't let us go to a lot of shows, but the ones we did go to, we dang sure didn't go backstage. You know what I mean? Like that was not okay. And so anyway, I've been around Terry for lots of years. Wait a minute. 93. Now, I don't know. My time's screwed up, but Smoky Mountain, I'm not sure what year Smoky Mountain was. I think 95 maybe. So 93 is still earlier than that. Okay. But yeah, I've been around Terry Funk and Dory too a lot, to tell you the truth, for my whole life.
You mentioned your dad and Terry Funk. He worked a ton with your family. There was even an event in Florida where your dad took on Terry Funk with Lou Thez as the referee. That's pretty amazing right there. That's some talent in one ring, brother.
You know, and the truth be told is, and this is, you know, this is always from my point of view, and of course mine is biased towards my father. But if yours isn't, then I think you did your family wrong. But Lou Thez and Terry Funk. Look, the Funks were world-renowned world champions already. My dad in the South, to go against him and to have a storyline so embroiled that you needed Lou Thez to be the special referee here. Like, Dad was an important player in the South, and early on too. And I don't know. I didn't realize that. I never really grasped that until it was too late to say, "Hey, Dad, how was it when you worked with Dory and Columbus and outdrew Elvis?" You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about that a million times,
yeah.
but we never really, I don't know. We probably did talk about it so much. I just still want to ask him the questions, you know. But that's where we're at. Look, the Funks and the Armstrongs have been intertwined a few times in this industry.
3 different decades, 70s, 80s, and 90s. The Funks and the Armstrongs would go against each other. You didn't say it, but I'll say it. Southern wrestling royalty and wrestling royalty, but for sure Southern wrestling royalty. And again, Terry defended the NWA title against your father in Macon, Georgia in 1976.
Holy mackerel.
But looking back on that, Terry is a unique NWA champion in that time period.
100%, because it was very conservative. Like, it was very conservative shooters, and we talked about Lou Thez and you know what I mean, all these traditional wrestlers. Terry was a bit of a wild card. Terry was a bit of a, you know what I mean? Like, he could do all that stuff and would, but why? I mean, he just swing like a helicopter of left hands at you. You know what I mean? So he was a bit of a wild card to put that title on. But look, he was Terry Funk, and he was the son of Dory and the brother of Dory Jr. You know what I mean? So that last name goes a long way. And they could trust him to put the title on him. Back then, it was a big deal to get that title. It wasn't just like, "Oh, you deserve it." No, people were getting their legs broke over that son of a gun. So, so into the history, smarten up.
And then you mentioned it earlier. We want to make sure we mention it. Your dad and Terry would face off in the 90s.
Yeah.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling for Mr. Jim Cornette. At one point, they would team up to take on, and I know this sounds crazy, the Gangsters, Mustafa and New Jack, in a Texas death match in 1995.
Oh.
That is insane sentence right there.
Yeah. And I can see my dad now just double choking with what's the other guy's name?
Terry Funk.
Yeah.
Oh, Mustafa and
Yeah,
New Jack.
Mustafa. And Terry and Jack are doing backflips off of stuff. But I do remember when they worked in Smoky Mountain. It was like a December to remember. So it was one of those things. Big house in Knoxville. It was a big draw. It was him and Dad and Terry Funk. And Terry ended up stacking chairs all in the ring and putting Dad on top of it. And Terry went to the top, did a big moonsault. Dad moved. He ate the chairs, and Dad did something and pinned him. You know, so it was. But even then, man, Terry backstage was. There it is. That may be the actual. I don't know who though. Oh, that's them against the Gangsters. Dang, Dad didn't even have a mask on. But that, I don't know. Terry Funk's been look. I emulated him when I broke in. The big thing I used to love him, he would just take a swing out of nowhere and like miss and spin around in a circle and fall down. You know what I mean? Like it was the coolest thing in the world to me, because I thought he just tried to hit the guy and he missed and he fell down. Like it was, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I love that. So like I would take a bump over the top rope and stand up and swing and take a bump, and it was all Terry Funk, you know what I mean? And I'm sure he took it from somebody too. But I don't know, man. He was just such an innovator in so many different ways, and such a giving dude, and just tougher than shoe leather. I mean, tougher, you know, a lot of those cliches.
I got this, one of my favorite things I own wrestling memorabilia is this copy of the Wrestler magazine of the I Quit match with him and Flair. And I got to hear Terry tell stories one day, sitting around and having a lot of beers.
Yeah.
And he signed that for me. But man, when you talk about as a kid, buddy, when he threw a plastic bag over Ric Flair's face,
Yeah.
and you're going, hey, he's gonna kill him, guys. We got kids watching. I mean, that was chaos. That was.
Hey, let me say
these
this.
were characters for kids, and he's killing a man almost on television.
In this thing leading up that we're talking about with Dad and Terry Funk, Terry Funk cut a promo and said, Bob Armstrong, your wife is a whore. Bob Armstrong, your children are all bastards. Every one of them. Your son was a deserter from the Marine Corps. I mean, he went in, and it was like, whoa, your mother is like, that was on the deadgum broadcast. And look, I was 19 in the Marine Corps, and it made me mad. You know what I mean? It made me, I got hot at it. And Dad was like, he doesn't really think your mother's a whore. So I was like, I'm sorry. I'll just be over here licking the windows.
I wish I could find the clipping. It went viral when Terry passed. It was getting shared everywhere, but it was a promo that he did, and somebody said, let me guess, their mother's a whore. And he goes, no, she's just an ordinary slut.
Yeah, I believe he's used that one several times.
Yeah.
Hey, but it's efficient.
It's
it cuts right to the quick.
every time.
Like I want to, speaking of swinging and spinning in a circle, I want to.
Yeah. The first match we could find with you and Terry Funk would be for WCW, where Terry would team with Arn Anderson and Bunkhouse Buck as part of the Stud stable.
I told the story to my daughter yesterday, my youngest daughter, before I drove up there.
On Saturday night, you and your brothers, Brad and Brian.
Brad and Scott. I'm Brian.
Brian is. Oh yeah, Brian, you were there. That center stage Saturday night. Tell me what you remember from that.
So the story to me, my highlight is, think about I'm 6 months in the business.
Okay.
And I'm in a 6-man tag on Saturday nights, whatever it's called, with Terry Funk and Arn Anderson and Jimmy Golden, Bunkhouse Buck, he was like one of my uncles, you know what I mean? Like he was literally them and Robert and Ron. That was my uncles, really. I didn't, you know what I mean? What was I talking about? Oh, the match. So Terry gives me, it's like tells me, cut me off, block this, cut me off. So I start hitting him. He's like, pile drive me. And I'm like, what? Okay. And so I pile drive him. He like sits up and sells on his head and his feet, and he like shimmies across the ring and sells out of the ring, does one of those punches like I was talking about. Like he just really made me look like $1 million. And then when I watched it on Saturday night, none of that was on television.
What?
It was my first kind of introduction into, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. When you're a job guy, your offense doesn't make TV. And look, that's not always the case, but and job guys is a bad word, but we rarely use enhancement talent anymore or extras, and so anyway, that's what I was at the time, and I felt like Chief J Strongbow, only white and skinnier. But I felt awesome. And then I waited to see it, man, because I just knew I was going to look awesome kicking Terry Funk's arse. None of it. It was all on the gun room floor. But he's still, man, to think about that where I'm at in the business. Yeah, there it is. And I think the ring, there's Nick Patrick was the referee.
Is that really Nick?
Yeah.
How about that?
And I guarantee you he had his little electric guitar, and Max was probably there then, and we were playing in the hotel room somewhere that night.
So good.
Yeah, it's great.
Look at them pants, man. Those are.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about an iconic look.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how you know who's in that match. Those pants. A lot of what you did in 1998, we've talked about it before on previous episodes, Dog. Yeah. New Age Outlaws taking on Cactus and Chainsaw. But the last match we could find in our research was Dustin Runnels and Terry teamed up on Shotgun to defeat you and Billy on June 29th, 1998.
Wow.
Does that seem like the last time you remember
was
being in the ring?
Dustin and Terry?
Yeah, teaming up against you and Billy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's about right. It was post the Mania where they took the titles from us and put us in the dumpster. Even though technically it was a different dumpster, so I think we're still the champions.
Hey guys, Tony Schiavone. Need to call a timeout real quick. Wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling What Happened When listeners for a while now about all the cool things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
On the latest edition of The False Finish, Zach Gowen talks about reaching the top of the pro wrestling world against incredible physical odds before issues with immaturity got in his way.
It's not a talent issue, it's a maturity issue. We want to see you continue to wrestle, try new characters, become a heel, try new things, find a groove. The door is open, just mature a little bit. But it was almost fatherly, the way he sat me down and explained to me exactly why I was being released. And I'll always remember that, and I'll always thank Jim Ross every time I see him for that.
As Dogg and Casio finished up their latest Ask Dogg Anything, they kept the party going for ad-free shows members, answering more questions on a bonus overrun.
We were the main event. Me and Brian Christopher were the main event. Doug was in a up there match. Jamie Dundee was in a tag title match, I'm sure. And we just stopped and started playing pool and drinking. Like, that was what we did. We pulled through the median and turned around and just called from a payphone and said, yeah, our car can't make it.
That's just a small taste of what we got waiting for you. With 4 levels to choose from, see for yourself why ad-free shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com.
I mean, you mentioned it every time somebody brings up biggest moments in your careers. You mentioned that is high on the list of you teaming up against Cactus and Chainsaw.
Look, now that I'm older, and definitely this is the episode to talk about realities, my perspective has changed, like we talked a little bit about. So in the industry, in the business, man, that's a really huge moment in my professional life. You know what I mean? It's like it's probably the biggest moment for me in my professional life. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth. However, like it's nothing compared to like my service to the country or my children being born or my grandchildren. You know what I mean? Like on the real. But what makes it real is to go back to your point and talk about the biggest professional moment. What makes that real is the relationships I have or had with the individuals. You know what I mean? And 3 of which are still alive. And even with Terry, up until the last time I saw him, it was, you son of a bitch has tried to kill me. And I mean, we power bombed him in that thing, and it bruised him from hip to the back of his knee, man. And it was brutal, but like we felt like we had to just to save face, because this old dude was beating the piss out of us, and and there wasn't nothing we could do about it. That's the funny part.
And he wouldn't have it any other way.
Hey, the harder it came, the harder it came back. You know what I mean? It ain't nobody backing down. And it was fun because that was who they were, and it was who me and Billy were at the time too. And of course I would sell and be a chicken crap as a heel, but I don't know, man. It was aggressive at the time, and Terry was aggressive. Terry was aggressive, man. He would knock you into next week when you would just be coming to like get him, like he's selling over there, and I'm just going to go over to get him, and out of nowhere he would just swing a left hand, and it wouldn't be like a fist, you know what I mean? It would be like a club, bow, and like just boom, and just ring your, and just, oh my God. But it was, you know what he wanted next was for you to haul off and kick him in the face. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. And so that's what we did. You know what I mean? For this short burst of really cool, violent matches. what a cool moment. Again, the part that makes it bleeds over into my personal life is the relationships, like I said, with those cats. And Terry Funk beat up every member of my family. I guess I was just the last one to get it. Hey, I wear that as a friggin' badge of honor, and I don't give a damn what anybody says. Just like I wear my Marine Corps insignia. I fought Terry Funk, and when I say I fought him, I'm half-ass shooting. You know what I mean?
And don't forget, great stuff in Roadhouse. By the way, there's a fun, there's a fun video if you ever go to YouTube, and it's Roadhouse, but just the Terry Funk parts. It's like 6 minutes long, and they just cut to every Terry Funk part.
Well, that was the good parts.
It was so fun. Check that out.
I think they should have had Terry have sex with that hot nurse.
I mean, still, you remember when he goes, "You don't look like much to me."
Yeah.
Yeah, you have balls big enough to come in a dump truck, but you don't look like much to me.
I love
man, great stuff, brother.
Yeah.
Dog, speaking of meeting a greater audience, that is our friends over at AG1. We are so excited to be teamed up with them. They are the daily foundational nutritional supplement
look at me.
that supports whole body health.
Yeah.
And look.
Not just upper body like I have here. It's a whole body health. You know what I love, and you're going to read this in a second, but I love the functioning mushrooms and the adaptogens. Like, so those are some of my favorite words to say. And the fact that they're good for my body inside is also a plus.
Good.
Yeah.
And I'll be completely honest with everybody. AG1, they're our partner. They sent us AG1 so we could take it.
Yep.
And my wife promptly stole it from me. Because she is, you've seen her, dog.
She's healthy.
She is incredibly in
She's
shape.
fit. That's
and
what I want to say.
She said, "What is this? Look at that. You see the packet on your screen if you're watching us. You see everything that's involved. You've got the scoop. You've got the bottle, the shaker." She said, "Well, this is perfect. I take all these supplements, and it's all right here in one scoop."
Convenience is the name of the game, dog. Convenience is the name of the game in life right now. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's so busy and so full. This is one scoop, big dog. One scoop, Snoop, and you're done for the day. And it's all of those vitamins you were talking about. How much money do all those things cost? This right here is less than $3, I think it is, a day. And that's a half the price of your daggum coffee or your dragon fruit refresher, for the love of God. What are you doing?
She makes fun of me for my M&M's addiction. And I'm like, hey, you have all these supplements you take every morning. You've got all these pills. They're in all kind of bottles and all this on the counter. And then, boom, you can take AG1 for, like you said, dog, less than $3 a day. It's a really effective daily habit with high-quality sourced ingredients. That's called a win-win in anybody's book. And like you said, 75 high-quality ingredients. Yeah. They're going to give you the key daily nutrients to support energy, focus, strength, clarity, and dog's favorite, gut
Boy, you
health.
turned me. Gut health, man. It's so important. And my gut ought to know. It's big. It's just a big gut.
If your gut ain't right, your butt ain't right.
No,
you know?
Amen.
And AG1 is going to streamline that.
Streamline it. High quality poops.
It supports the immune system.
Amen.
How about that?
How about
so
that?
Drink that AG1 every single day. How about your morning ritual? That becomes it. It's real easy. Boom.
And that's it.
Take it. Drink that on your way to work.
Spend time doing something else.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
AG1, that's where they're at for you. So, if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/dog. That's drinkag1.com/DOGG. Check it out now and be sure you tell them you heard it on Oh You Didn't Know. We thank AG1.
Thank you, AG1,
for taking care of us. We love them and love them being a part of Oh You didn't know. And by the way, you know this, dog.
Yeah.
As much as you travel, those travel packs are incredible.
Yeah, it's the one to do. It's the one to do, the travel pack, and it's like a whole toiletry, like you know what I mean? Like it fits right next to my toiletry bag in my bag, and so convenience is the way to go. Like even you can travel with it, and so yeah, AG1.
I'll say this: go Google vitamin D and its benefits. By the way,
yeah,
incredible benefits relating to all kind of different health issues. If your vitamin D is low, it's tied into all kind of health issues.
Yep.
And boom, AG1 knows that. That's why if you use that promo code and go to drinkag1.com/DOGG, they're going to give you a free year supply of vitamin D. They know how important that is for everybody.
Yep.
All right, dog.
You
As
can't
we
beat
go
the price
back,
of that.
yeah, it is. Boom, less than $3 a day. Sadly, dog, and while we're doing this show, it was not the only bad news we suffered in the professional wrestling world.
Yeah.
The very next day, sadly, Bray Wyatt passed away. Bray debuted on the roster, reinventing himself out of his NXT character of Husky Harris to become the leader of the Wyatt family. But Windham Rotunda is just like you, dog. Wrestling royalty of his father, Mike Rotunda, his grandfather, Black Jack Mulligan, along with Barry and Kendall Windham. Families in the business run deep, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and it's. I mean, it's no different than somebody else getting in, you know, whose parents weren't in the industry, but it seems like there's to me anyway, and maybe maybe it's just me, but there seems like there's a connection there with second generation wrestlers. Like there's something there, and it transcends geography. Like it's with Santos and Rey Mysterio and all those guys. You know what I mean? Like their family is such a big deal. I think it's such a big deal to each of the wrestling families, and so we all have that in common, and we all love that. And so just like I love my family, I love their family too, because I feel like their family is cut from the same cloth as my family, and we're all rowing toward the same shore. So yeah, family ties run deep in wrestling, and I love it. I love that about it. You know what I mean? And look, you could say, and there are examples both ways of that's nepotism, cronyism, whatever you want to call it. You get your family in the business, but I think, you know, I pray at least that I stood on my own 2 feet after getting in because of my family. I know that Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas and everybody who can get in the ring, look at that talent right there. There's a Survivor Series team for you. And so that's just that's incredible at what a talented family they do have. And there's so many families around. Anyway, I can't imagine what Mike Rotundo and his wife are going through right now. I know my parents went through that and lost a son, and I can't fathom that. You know what I mean? But I lost my brother, so I do have some empathy there for the younger sister. I think is Mika.
Oh, his sister.
Yeah, and for Taylor as well. Like I've lost a sibling, and I know how that feels. And again, I would hug both of their necks and just say, remember the good times, because nobody can take that away from you. You know what I mean? Remember when I said the bad, what did I say? Addiction only gets crappy at the end, or whatever. Well, life is really good, but there's just one shitty part. And you can leave the cuss word in, because that's how I feel about it. And it's the part that sucks, and it's not fair, and they never ask my permission, and they never, you know what I mean? It just happens, and now I don't mean to be saying that. We are all have to process it, and are left to go on, and are left to now to think about the prospect of losing a child, or what, you know, and I want to be there for Mike, but I can't fathom what he needs right now. I love him, and I will pray for his family to have strength during this time. And again, what a special dude who shined bright and I put that on social media. It was like a meteor, man, because he was a superstar. He was like a supernova. You know what I mean? And what a character! Like his character is comparable to the Undertaker, and one of those characters was in the business for 30 years. You know what I mean? And one was in it for 4 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he'd been in the business longer than that, but kind of established this awesome character. And look, I'm horrible at times. I know I messed that up, and some person smarter than me will say, he's so stupid. And they're right, I am, but still. Yeah, so Bray was just, look, he's gone too soon. That's all there is to it. He's gone too soon, and it's not fair. And and I think to myself, well, why would God take a man away from his children and his wife? And I don't know the answer to that. His thoughts are above my pay grade, and when I get there, I'll ask him. You know what I mean? And he'll probably slap me like Terry Funk would have. But I don't know, man. Bray Wyatt, what a superstar, what a WWE superstar that continued to evolve his character into deeper, darker, more entertaining, a little more scary at times. Like, look, you can go back to some of the stuff we did when I was there and on the writing team of that early Bray Wyatt stuff was just, I loved it, man. When they fought New Day in the woods and stuff, there was some really cool stuff that we did, especially when Randy was with Bray and them. And I don't have all those facts, but I remember the times, and I remember putting the title on not me, but the company put the title on Bray, and man, at the time he was on top of the world, and just like when he came back this time, on top of the world. It seemed like he had come back again, and there had been another layer of depth added, and I could only imagine, and was waiting with bated breath as to what was to come next. You know what I mean? And so, man, gone way too soon.
Let's go a little into the timeline, Dog. Were you watching him in NXT? Did you meet him there? Did you meet him on the main roster?
So I met him on the main roster. He was already, no. He was down in NXT, but he had just become Bray Wyatt. Okay. So he was not Husky Harris he was Bray Wyatt when I first met him. So I'm not sure what timeline that is, but I remember working very, very hard on that entrance for time and time again and time. And then what if we go to the camera back here when he swings you know what I mean? And everybody's collaborating, Hunter and Bray, and it's just so much fun to be there and what a cool, that's just a pic of him, but what a cool character it is. And if you remember Cape Fear, and it's not the same guy, but it's an iteration of De Niro in that movie, Cape Fear, and it was such a great movie based on a primal fears. You know what I mean? Yeah. And what a character that was derived from that, but made totally independent of it in Bray's mind. Gosh, his mind was so I don't know how I'm going to tell this story without telling this story, but it's crass and it's horrible, and I apologize, but it was one of the last things I truly remember of our interactions, Bray and myself, and it's just an impactful one for me because it popped Bray so much. So it was in 2015, and me and Billy are wrestling again, and I'm like putting my boots on, and I'm in the locker room with my boot half tied or whatever, and I'm just sitting there. And I looked over, and Bray was sitting next to me, and I said, Bray, I think I'd rather S a D than go out there and wrestle right now. Except I didn't say the letters. And he fell on the floor laughing. and he was such a jovial guy with always had a smile that when I popped him that big, it made my heart feel good because he's a huge bear of an aggressive,
huge man,
lovable. Like he would always just come up from behind and hug you real tight and go, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" You know what I mean? And it's just, "Oh God, Bray, what are you doing?" And he's laughing and he's lovable and it's. He always, I don't think I ever saw him like when he wasn't in a good mood or cutting up with people. And so he brought a positive energy, man. And he brought a creative energy too, that allowed people and almost challenged them to go, "Well, what are you going to do with your character?" You know what I mean? Like, what are you better step up to the plate, because Bray Wyatt's coming out with a new one every other month. So, and man, it was, I don't know, it's still very surreal to me that he's gone. With Terry is a little bit different, because Terry lived a long and full life. His wife passed before him, as we talked about earlier. Like Terry lived a full life, and probably I watched this happen in my father, and like I said, I like to think they were cut of the same cloth. I watched my father after my mom passed. He didn't want to be here anymore, and so I imagine Terry feeling the same way. And you're gonna tell Terry he should hang out and be in pain and heartbroken for the rest. You know what I mean? Like, what? So I look at that differently, and that, again, back to perspective. But Bray's different. Bray is different. Bray was taken too soon. Like, did he reach his potential? Well, heck yeah. He was a hugely famous sports entertainer that became a cultural phenomenon as a character, and that came out of his head. So I mean, did he reach his potential? Heck yeah. But was there more left? Like, of course there was. That's just who he was, and that's what he had in there, man. And he wasn't scared by boundaries and limitations that you and I are scared of, because when you talk like that, people might think you're crazy. And that was Bray for real. You know what I mean? Some of the promos he would cut, I would just be like, "Oh, well, that's kind of just what he told me earlier, sitting in the seats." You know what I mean? Like, he was deep, dude, and he was creative, and like I said, what a shining light that was extinguished too soon, man. And so that's really surreal to me, is the Bray part of this.
Eric Bischoff here again, telling you about our friends over at SaveWithConrad.com. Now, Conrad's always talking about how they are helping homeowners save money, but did you know that Conrad and his team can also help you become a homeowner? They make the home buying process more enjoyable than, I don't know, making out with Stephanie and Linda. Ouch! But don't take my word for it.
Hi, I'm Sarah Davis, and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. So my husband has been a huge fan of Conrad's podcast for many, many years, and for years, we were on road trips, and he would have me listen to it, and then I got really into it. And so when it came time for us to buy a house, it was kind of like, there's really no other option at this point. Like, we have to go down this path, right? It was the best. I worked with Steve. I don't know what to do. I was looking more for preparing to buy a house. How do I get this in order? What does this need to look like? What do I need to move around? What's more important that I pay off first? Because I'm a first-time home buyer. I don't know what that needs to look like. So that's when I called you guys and I talked with Steve, and phenomenal from day one. I got a full education on home buying before I was ever asked to fill out an application, before I was ever asked to do anything, which is just, I mean, I cannot brag on you guys enough. I literally cannot tell enough people about you, because we would not have a home if it weren't for you, if it weren't for that interaction and weren't for the learning process. And I feel like I went into being a first-time homebuyer by the time we got through the end of the process with the same education that people need 4 or 5 homes to buy. And so now I feel like, all right, well, we can do this. We can do real estate. I can actually make good decisions and ask good questions at closing and beyond because of everything that you taught me. My name is Sarah Davis, and I got into my dream home with Save with Conrad.
And unlike the dirt sheets, we're not making this up. Check out all the 5-star reviews. Go to SaveWithConrad.com and do it today. You'll be grateful you did.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
Let's do a little bit of his timeline as he comes through and the Wyatt family. He walked into the main roster and assaulted Kane right out of the gate. It's a big step to be put up against a man that quickly into his time, Dog. I mean,
well, of course, but look, I think everybody understood the gravity of the character. And when I say the gravity of it, I'm talking about the future of it, the longevity, the marketability, everything. Is this going to be good? And as we see, everybody's holding up fireflies, lights, and it's transcended wrestling. They played his thing at the the Emirates. Soccer, football, probably they call it.
United Arab Emirates,
Yeah, they played like his Fireflies song at their stadium and stuff. So I mean, it's transcended what his dad did. Think about that. What my dad did. What Terry did. You know what I mean? Because Terry worked in his dad's company in Amarillo or whatever, right? For a long time. Like. Then he started going around the world in Japanese tours and doing all this. But, I don't even know where I was going with that. But we were talking about how great these two guys were. I'm sure of that much.
About how, he's with Kane out of the gate. It tells you what everybody saw in him.
Yeah, and look, he had already made it to the main roster once. So he already had been there and was gonna play ball. And I don't remember what exactly went down, but he went back down for a second and reinvented himself and became Bray Wyatt.
The Kane storyline would lead to the Ring of Fire match at SummerSlam 13, essentially an Inferno match. What a great test early on for a young guy going against, a legend, a Hall of Famer in Kane. Yeah. What a great spot to be in that early in his career. A lot have been said, Dog, that he's one of the best guys, the guy that would come into every locker room and talk to everybody and welcome them in. Is that accurate? Is that your take on it?
Yes, 100%. And that's what I meant earlier by saying like I never saw a sour Windham. You know what I mean? He was always fun and games, and I love that. That's right up my alley, of course. He was fun and games, but when the red light comes on, it's a different story. Like I got my crap together. I can have fun in games and play, and when the red light comes on, I can be dead serious and be that character too. And that's how he had it. You know what I mean? And so it was fun to be around him. At a rehearsal of a thing, we would have fun. We would laugh a lot. Just going over an entrance and a promo. You know what I mean? And so he loved to have a good time, man. Yeah, he was a big burly. I think he was this generation's Bam Bam Gordy.
Oh, really?
He's just Gordy was a little bit quieter. He wasn't an extrovert. Like if Gordy would have been, oh my God, I forgot the other guy's name. Not Michael Hayes, but the other guy. Michael would beat the crap out of me right now. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. Yes, Buddy Roberts. God Almighty, it was on the tip of my tongue.
The actual
if Buddy Roberts would have had Bam Bam's body. That would have been. Yeah. Look, he loved having a good time, man. But he's a big, lovable teddy bear. I saw that they did something with the proceeds of his merch or something, and so I think everybody's trying to do right. And just look, I also think everybody's in shock.
Yeah.
For me, and look, I work remotely from home, but I did see Bray at the Garden not long ago, recently, or decently recently, and so, but it was kind of, I still got to process it. You know what I mean? It's surreal to me because I'm not with him every day, so it's like, wait, I'm not gonna, because that's what I driving today. What I just thought about was I'll never get to be hugged by him again, to where I'm scared and love it at the same time. And that's when your safe word is keep going. You know what I mean? When you hug Bray Wyatt, he can do anything he wants to me because I'm in the arms of a bear right now, but he's going to like bite my neck or something. You know what I mean? Like he's going to blow in my ear or something. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to get that no more, but I'll never forget it. And I can sit here and tell you, and we can laugh about it. And that's perspective, right? Like I fear change, and I don't like loss. And if I could fight it and run away from it, I would. But I don't do drugs anymore, so I can't. I have to face them. I have to process it. I have to go through it. I can't go around it. I gotta process it. And the biggest thing, like I said, is for me is acceptance. Like, okay, here's where we're at. I don't like it one bit, but what would Bray want me to do? You know what I mean? That's what it all boils down to. And it wouldn't be, well, why don't y'all blubber and cry about it? You know what I mean? Saddlebags.
One of the most infamous moments in his career early on was the story of Daniel Bryan joining the Wyatt family before coming to his senses on the classic Raw where in the cage, Bryan snapped out of the cult-like control Wyatt had on him. Were you involved in any of that? Were you there that night?
I was there that night, and I was involved in some of the conversations leading up to that. I loved it, to be quite honest with you.
Reaction was great.
I think Daniel going through those different trials and tribulations, and I'm talking about Team Hell No, this one here. Those are things that gave him equity in the brand of Bryan Danielson. You know what I mean? Like the man, the character, the wrestler, whatever he is, whatever you would call him in this industry, taking those journeys from a character standpoint help build to who the guy he is today. You know what I mean? And so I think those are very, very pivotal moments. And look, it worked because Bray was hugely over, and he was hugely, but he still got booed at the time. He would still be booed because they were big, huge swamp people. But but Daniel being butted up against them wrote itself.
This would lead to Wyatt getting a gigantic win over Bryan at the Royal Rumble. Before you know, CM Punk walked out and changed everything that was planned the next night. Also at the Rumble, the Wyatt, Mr. CM Punk.
He gets in trouble a lot.
He does. Also at the Rumble, the Wyatt family would attack Cena.
Oh.
Talk about being put to the test. A WrestleMania match with John Cena. That is how you know a company trusts a sports entertainer. They're putting you on a Mania match with John Cena. How do you think Bray was handling it all?
Like a champion. Look, Bray played football at Troy. Bray's a soldier. You know what I mean? Bray, not literally enlisted, but Bray's a warrior. You know what I mean? Like, he played sports all his life. He don't know no quit. You know what I mean? He don't know. So oh God, I lost my train of thought again.
Bray and Cena.
Yeah. So why not? And look, what I was going to say early on is not only trust in the kid, but I guarantee you Cena had something to say about who his opponent was. You know what I mean? And who his opponent was going to be. And he drew John out into some deep creative waters that nobody was kind of waiting for and knew they were going to get. So yeah, look, I think from Wyndham's standpoint, he handled it all like a pro because he was a pro. And that was my correlation to the football, the training, the preparation. You prepare so that when you get there, you're ready. You know what I mean? You don't have to start then. And it's just like this hurricane that's coming, Hurricane Idalia. Very interesting timing. But I'll just leave that there. Because
Right.
I think it's like Sister Idalia. You know what I mean?
Oh.
There was definitely a Bray correlation in this hurricane
How about that?
coming to the Gulf Coast. That's just me being crazy, but totally I see it.
Were you involved in that storyline at all at that time?
Yeah, I was on the writing team. I'm trying to think what year it was exactly. Exactly how involved I was, but always in those conversations just because of the company I kept during that period of time.
Eventually, Wyatt would defeat Cena in a steel cage match with the help of the Wyatt family and a demonic child. A lot of the more memorable moments in the WWE in the last 10 years happened to feature Bray.
Oh, yeah.
And that's no coincidence.
No. because it's, man, think about everything that to me, and I know people will think one way or the other, but remember the match with him and Bray, and there was maggots on the on the mat all of a sudden, and there was like a bee or something. I thought it was crazy, and I thought it was great, and I know a lot of people didn't, but I don't care. I get to judge for myself. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. I thought it was awesome, and that's all because of Bray Wyatt. You can step outside of that realm of reality because Bray Wyatt is Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you mean he's a supernatural guy? No, that's not what I said. But you can step outside that natural world with that kind of character. Man, when we burnt Randy burned the house down, Bray, and totally burned Sister Abigail and all that. Like, holy mackerel, man. We that was expensive to burn that house down, by the way. But again, that's when a company is invested in this character, and you could not deny the cultural relevance or the way in which he took off and captured the world. You know what I mean?
Wyatt would eventually move on to work with Chris Jericho before he set Harper and Rowan free and went out on his own as the new face of Fear. He would engage with Dean Ambrose, taunting him to offer to fix him. Did you have any involvement in that story as well?
Yes. Yeah. They had that. They had a hardcore match where I think one of the, he grabbed a monitor, he being Dean Ambrose, and jerked it away, and it like electrocuted, and he spun into the finish or something. I love that crap, and so I was actually very involved in that match particularly, and afterwards, and talking to those guys, and just those two guys were so willing to do anything and so willing to get crazy, and so I was a part of that, but a very small part, because those two guys got to get in the ring, and the bell's got to go,
Wyatt would go on to wrestle the likes of the Undertaker at WrestleMania in a gigantic moment, facing an injury that he battled through, reuniting the Wyatt family before finally winning the WWE title in Elimination Chamber in 2017. What a big moment that was for him in his career.
Man, and all these moments that you're talking about, like my kid used to say, I would say Holy Toledo, and he would say O-E Adito when he was like 4. O-E Adito. But that's what I want to say about these moments that you keep bringing up. Like, every one of them is more memorable than the last. Yeah. And like, I loved when the little possessed girl sang to Cena and he was scared, and you know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff is entertaining to me, and I don't know, man. It's an outlet for stuff. You know what I mean? It's a channel that I don't know, man. I was thoroughly entertained by Bray Wyatt, by the characters that he was, and by the human that Windham was, and again, it makes me it makes me think about when people pass away like this. It makes me, and I know it's very selfish of me, but it makes me think, like, all the horrible crap I did. How come it's almost survival guilt, I guess, or survivor's guilt. But it's, man, I guarantee you he didn't do half the evil crap I've done. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't make sense to me. And again, when I get there, I'll ask him, I guess.
Going back as we wrap up his storyline before we get out of here, he would lose the title, sadly, at WrestleMania to Randy Orton, but it would find himself working with the likes of Seth Rollins, Mr. Fergal McDivitt, Finn Balor himself, even Matt Hardy before the Firefly Funhouse became a reality in 2019. I mean, this just showed the range. All
of those were different a little. You know what I mean? Like, there was a little deviation from the character in each of those, yet there was still some semblance of the character. So I just owe it to Bray's genius, and I say that as a guy who fancies himself pretty smart to this business. And I'll tell you what he almost taught everybody is, don't limit yourself. It's your imagination. It's phony baloney wrestling. It's characters. It's we are the masters of our own destiny, and we can do whatever we want. And I mean, then you have to judge if it's good for business or not. But Bray taught us that you can look even more so than Undertaker, because Undertaker did it in a time where people, that was okay. He's a dead man. I get it. He's a dead dog. But even him, he had to come to be the biker dude because it wasn't cool to be the dead guy or the phony character. You know what I mean? But Bray crossed that narrow bridge to make it acceptable almost. And I'm talking about it like it's some crazy thing, but all it is his enigma, his energy, Bray Wyatt's vibe. Like he made it cool. It was cool. It was okay for you to go like, I don't know, he just appeared over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was not, I didn't go like, they turned the light out. He just ran over there. Because it was cool. You know what I mean? And he made it cool. It was cool as crap when Taker did it too. I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, but on the surface, some of these now in after the year 2000, we're talking late.
Yeah.
A different time than the Undertaker, and if
100%.
A lot of his ideas and storylines, if you just read the headline, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Demonic Child with John Cena. You would go, well, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
You're not doing
and then
that,
they
are
pulled
you?
it off. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it worked. And look, the
Fiend was legit scary.
Yeah. Yes, and those masks.
He changed Alexa Bliss, made that thing.
That was cool.
That storyline didn't sound anything believable, and then you go, well, Bray's involved. I mean, yeah.
It's got to be cool. I'm gonna watch, and that's just what. That's what he brought to the table, man. He was a new locker room leader, in a lot of the ways that Taker was. You know what I mean? There's still some old timers there that maybe been there longer than he had, but Bray set a standard, man. He was a pro, and it's still surreal to me, man.
Again, last couple things. One, last moments. Of course, we remember him on the screen. You have the pitch black match, which again sounds crazy to even talk about.
Yeah.
And you went, oh, Bray's in it? Well, we got to watch it.
Yeah,
we got to see what's
and
about
I
to happen.
actually thought it was really cool.
It was super entertaining to me.
Because it was different. There's 11 matches. Please don't just lock up and take a headlock. Please do something different. And this was so different. People bucked against it. Like, oh, it's too different. I don't like it. And I actually utilized the same type of technology and glow in the dark stuff to do some in live events at the Garden with him and LA Knight when LA Knight first came in. And so look at that. I mean, that's creepy right there, man.
Super cool.
Creepy.
Super cool, iconic moment.
And cool. He was cool, man.
And
he
you
was
mentioned
a big teddy bear and cool as crap.
You mentioned him, Undertaker. I don't think any of us will forget when Undertaker comes back for the Raw, the 30th anniversary episode, and it basically ends with Taker whispering in Bray's ear.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody going, "Hey, that's the passing of the torch." There.
Yeah.
That's the moment for me that will live forever. There. It was just a moment for everybody.
You're the new Undertaker.
Wow.
What? But seriously, everybody should send in what they think Undertaker whispered to Bray, but wrong answers only.
Wrong answers.
Hey, just
only.
because we could
Comment below.
Bray would love nothing better than for us to read some funny ones on the air, and I can assure you of that.
How many times do you think everybody's asked them, what did he say to you? I'm sure he got it 1 million times after that. But man, that was an emotional moment just thinking back on that again. So comment below. That will be fun. That's a fun way to immortalize that moment some more.
Because in my mind, he was like, "Does these pants make me look fat?" You know what I mean, or something like that. Like,
yeah, nothing serious at all. Well, look, his legacy on the sport is, I think, will go down. Maybe it doesn't matter what I think, but one of the best creative minds in the business for sure.
Yeah.
Him and Terry Funk. We lost two just incredible wrestling, sports entertaining minds there were in this business. A huge blow back to back.
Yep.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here, Dog? We still are going to do the thankful minute, but any final thoughts on that?
Just the fact that we could talk about them is an honor. The fact that I got to spend time in the locker room, even saying crass jokes and being numbskull with those two gentlemen, I am honored, and it was a pleasure. And I thank God for the opportunity that I got to spend time with those gentlemen. And that's what I have for the rest of my life, is my memories with those guys, and memories of how good those two guys were in an industry that I love and that I cherish and that I take very seriously, yet I love the fun of it. So those two guys played a prominent role in this industry, and not a whole lot of guys get to do that. So they should be revered, and they should be honored, and they should be talked about in a positive way. And that's hopefully what we did tonight was talk about their memories. And I'm sure I got a million I didn't bring up, but this is where we're at. I have to accept that I'm not going to have an interaction with these two gentlemen again, except for when I go to heaven and there's a big, like, 10-man Texas death match. You know what I mean? And me and Billy are in there, but I just keep pushing Billy into people and hide behind, like, the turnbuckle. I'm even a sissy in heaven.
Dog, we do want to get our thankful minute in. We do. We bumped some of our regular segments. We wanted to get in this and really focus on this, but we do not want to skip thankful minute. I think now more than ever on an episode like this is what we should be focused on, is what we are thankful for. So we'll put 60 seconds on the clock, and Dog, tell us what you are thankful for in your life.
Yeah. So I probably already teed it up, but just the relationships, and especially with these two gentlemen, but relationships in general in the wrestling business. To coin it in a word, I would say camaraderie. I've told the story about Edge sitting with me, and we all joking and everything, and he looked at me and he said, "This is what I miss when I'm gone." And it's the camaraderie, man. If you could, it's the most addictive drug I've ever taken in my life, and it's very tribal and very like the military was, where we're in different units, and it's very tribal, as in we could all be different colors and different races, but that's my honky, you know what I mean? And that's my Latino, and that's my black, and that's my, and you're not messing with any of us, because just like in the military, we're tight unit, wrestlers are, and I'm thankful for all the relationships I have.
Well, thank you, Dog. Thank you for taking us through this, working this process.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, and I honestly think it's because I had a lot of time to myself to think about nothing but not only the loss of these gentlemen, but where my life is, and where it's part of that acceptance. This is where I'm at. I'm left here without them. So what do I do now? You know what I mean? And okay, well, I got my family is important. I should think about them, and I should think, so it's, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Hey, so you know what I mean? It's acceptance, memories, and you can't have those from me. I have personal memories that are in my heart of these gentlemen, and also of my family members that I've lost, and you can't have them, and I'm gonna keep them till I hug them again, and that's all there is to it. So I'm gonna keep on stepping, just like these guys would want us to do, stepping and swinging.
Well, look, if you are a ad-free show family member with us, check that out. There is a lot of as you can imagine, a lot of the hosts on the ad-free show family tree there are sharing their memories as well. I know our friend Blue Meanie did a Terry Funk show. Yeah. I saw Bruce, Pritchard, and Conrad talking about them as well, and Bray. I know they were very close as well. Yep. So all the tributes are going up there. Be sure you check that out over at adfreeshows.com. Thanks, everybody, for checking out it again.
Yep.
Leave those fun comments. Let's have some fun with this.
Yeah. What
was
did Taker
Undertaker
say?
whispering to Bray Wyatt? Wrong answers only. Man, this was... thank you for sharing with us, Dog.
Yeah,
I know it's
and thank you guys for being patient with me, because I didn't know if I was going to be a babbling mess or if I was going to be able to get to it, but I think I think I had to tee it up for myself with the perspective talk. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's not lose perspective, even on this show, about the realities of what's going on in the world. You know what I mean? In my world, in your world, in the world, in those individuals' family members, and so there's so much to unpack. For my little piece of it, I felt like I got to cry it out a little bit on the road trip and process it a little bit, and again, I spoke it into existence. I spoke it, and I'm going to look at it in a positive perspective, and I'm not going to let myself stray from that. And that's all there is to it. If you ain't down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.